Why are we so connected and so alone?
I think that I learned what lonely and being alone was.
Having the means to connect does not necessarily mean that you will. Hello, welcome to the Beyond the Questions podcast, because every great conversation starts with a question. We're having real conversations about life with life coaches, and we are anticipating another great episode. So get ready and let's get started.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Questions. It is great to be back here with you today, and always fun to be joined by my other co-hosts, TQ and Ericka. How you guys doing today?
Doing all right. Doing pretty good.
Good, thank you.
All right.
A little tired, but I'm still good though.
Okay.
So.
All right. So if you're watching, watch to see if TQ's eyes droop. That's what we're looking for. If you're just listening, you'll never know unless you hear Ericka make fun of him, because I'm going to bet she'll be the one to call it out first. So anyway, it's great. It's always fun when we get to be together and be here. And today we're talking about and answering a question that is something I spend a lot of time thinking about anyway. And, talking to a lot of people about. And so the question is, why are we so connected and so alone? But before we dive into that question today, my fun question for you guys is, what is the most ridiculous thing you and a good friend have ever done together? You can, and I'll let you figure out how you want to define ridiculous. Maybe keep it legal, but other than that, I'll let you figure that one out.
Man, you just knocked off a few.
And then that makes me have questions for you, Jason. Like, ooh, okay.
Hey, we're not going there.
Pretty funny one. So have either of you been to Wyoming?
Hold on, TQ. I love it when she asks these. Have either of us watched a movie, heard the saying? My answer is still no, Ericka. I've never been to Wyoming.
Still no.
Great. Okay.
I would love to go, though.
Well, just picture a very remote area, not a lot of people. That's
how I assume Wyoming is. So
yeah,
okay.
Absolutely beautiful, beautiful place to go see. I recommend it in the summer months. Well, anyways, I went to nursing school there. And one of my friends and I, we really like to really get dressed up to go out. There's not so many places to go out per se in Wyoming. So we still chose to wear our fanciest outfits with very high heels and went to the local bar dressed as so. Fully to the nines, hair done, beautiful dresses, fur coats, all of the above. Everyone was like, who are these women?
I feel like I just learned so much that I never knew in that one brief story. In college, you owned a fur coat. I want to hear that again. You said in college, I owned a fur coat and wore it out to a local bar in Wyoming.
So I can't.
That's awesome.
I actually did, but I don't know. I think I wore my friend's fur coat. We were both wearing my dresses, and then her and I were both wearing her coats. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I tell my parents, too. It belongs to my friends.
The story gets better, TQ, when her friend had two fur coats. I'm just saying, it didn't, it's interesting. So,
And TQ is not going to put pictures of this up, even though they do exist.
No. We have seen baby TQ. We are going to see Ericka in a fur coat. I'm just saying, come on now. You can't. The audience is dying. All right.
Yeah.
TQ, I don't know how you're going to top fur coats in Wyoming.
Well,
that aren't yours, but we'll see where it goes.
I was a student minister back in the day, and there was a couple of students who were going on a Star Wars convention. All right. So that's not even the ridiculous part. So, what? Star Wars convention. My laughter
is in excitement for the rest of the story. I'm like,
so anyhow, it was in Indianapolis, and we went to it and saw all sorts of crazy things at that. I didn't realize that I thought I was a Star Wars fan, but when you go to one of those, you realize there are levels to this, and not that. But a couple of us were out, and it's just a couple of students, and one was with me at this time, and we were out. I don't know, near the mall. There was a statue, and I'm trying to be a cool youth minister or whatnot. And the mom said, you can go, they'll have more fun with you, et cetera, et cetera. And he was like, that statue, let's go climb it. I was like, hey. So we started. Truly not smart. For all of you who don't know, statues aren't made for climbing in public settings. And just about as soon as we were about to climb up on its big foot of this statue, next thing I know, there was a cop coming and informing us that we should not do that. And so it could have been a bad story, but it's just ridiculous, from our Star Wars fanhood to almost in jail for climbing a statue in Indianapolis.
Was this like a Wookiee statue, or you climbing
what's
Chewbacca?
the
No, it had the Star Wars thing was just why we were the whole reason why we were in Indianapolis. We keep doing this, and there will be some Star Wars convention stories, but that was just the context for why we were there.
Disappointed. I was really hoping for something from Star Wars convention, but we'll get there.
They will
keep tuning in, because
there were some very ridiculous things there, but I did not do them. So
okay, all right, that was a great little teaser.
Well, what did you wear?
I wore regular clothes.
He wore the Princess Leia costume from
Yes,
Boba
yes,
Fett.
of course. Thank you.
All right. So when I was in high school, so since we had college and like young professional, I'll go with high school. I had a best friend, and we did everything together. Like, we were together all the time. And so it was the summer, and his parents were gone, and we were like, what are we going to do today? And he's like, I don't know. And so I was like, we love to play home run derby. So we'd often take like a bucket of tennis balls, an aluminum baseball bat, and go to the local like baseball field and hit tennis balls over the fence. It was great. And I was like, what would you think about playing home run derby on your roof? And so his parents' bedroom window dropped right onto the second story roof of their house. So we climbed out and we stood across the peak of and oh my gosh, we just slow pitched. We lost so many tennis balls. We never saw them again. There were trees in the neighbor's yard that once they were over the tree, I couldn't tell you where a single one of those tennis balls went. We heard some screeching tires. We never heard crashing metal. But yeah. And it was a great day until his mom came home, and she was not so happy that we were standing on the roof launching tennis balls down the street. So anyway, it was good.
How steep was this pitch of this roof? I'm trying to imagine this.
It wasn't, we were standing on the peak, so 1 foot on each side. It wasn't super steep because I'm terrified of heights. So I was not going to be out there where I could really fall off. So it was pretty shallow. But yeah, it was,
all right.
I'm a firm believer that your frontal lobe is not developed until you're 25. And I'm pretty sure in my case, it was closer to 35 before my frontal lobe, and I stopped doing really dumb things. So I can fill a podcast of dumb things I've done with friends, but I'd like for people to still think I'm a reputable coach, so I'm not going to share any other stories. Speaking of that, before we dive into this topic, I want to give each of you just a minute to let our first-time listeners know, or returning guests, just a reminder of the work that we do. So, Ericka, you want to lead off?
Yes, thanks, Jason. So I help women who have been through trauma or going through any relationship challenges, and I create that space to walk with them and be with them as they're going through that, as I have been there in those shoes. And then I chose to educate myself so I can help those women get through that.
Yeah, that's cool. Ericka's awesome with that, by the way. I have sent a few people her way, and she's been great. So
thank you.
My name is TQ with TQ Coaching Solutions. And I just believe that everybody has something great to offer the world. And several people may find themselves being stuck, unable to offer that thing, this vision or dream that they have, because of fear and self-doubt and just not able to gear up for action to get it done. And so what I love to do is help people try to get past those boundaries and make where they're stuck, go from stuck to unstoppable. So that's what I'm trying to do, trying to help people do that. I love it. And so if that's you, call me, DM me, whatever the case may be. I'm out there. Check me out.
Awesome.
Jason.
And I'm Jason Roten. I'm the owner of Jason Roten Coaching. And so what I do is, a lot of us show up in a meeting. We show up in a relationship, we have a conversation, something goes a little sideways, and we end up reacting in ways that we didn't even know. And we wonder, why did that happen? Where did that come from? And so I want to help identify the emotions that we're feeling in those moments, what's happening inside of us. And I think once we identify that emotion, we can create a strategy about how to respond differently the next time. And so I help leaders and individuals navigate that space and learn to live life from the inside out. And that's really what I do. So in that vein, we're going to dive into our topic for today. So my question for you guys is there a friendship that you used to have that just faded away? I don't mean like you had a big blow up, somebody got mad, you just stopped talking, but just distance or time. And you feel like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to that person in forever.
I had a friend in Jacksonville, Florida. A lot of my family's from that area. Didn't go there very often. I didn't really live there for too long, just kind of in my 9th grade year of school, first half of that or second half of that. And Kirky was my friend. I don't know what Kirky's real name was. Maybe that was his real name. I'm doubtful. And Kirky, he lived next to my uncle in this apartment complex. And every time we were there, I would visit, we'd hang out, we'd play from like when I was really little till about 9th grade. And when you were asking that question, his name just popped up in my mind. Like, what happened to Kirky? I have zero idea. I don't know. Hadn't been back to Jacksonville. He doesn't live in that area. We're all old, I'm sure. And we didn't have phones and things back then. And so we definitely weren't writing each other any letters and sticking a stamp on it. So I don't know what happened to Kirky. So,
I mean, the answer is yes. I have had one of those relationships. A friend I grew up with, just her and I were friends all growing up. And I can think back a time like there's not like a pinpoint or anything, just it's like this separation. And I don't know how to describe it. I did move away, but then I came back and I don't think that really was it. Just kind of stopped being best friends.
Yeah, I think distance is a huge piece. Like both of you kind of had we moved away, things kind of changed and shifted. And, to be honest, the kid I grew up with, his name was Andy. And now Andy and I do still talk every once in a while. And when we do, it's like for 4 hours nonstop. And like, it's like we just picked up where we left off. But I had the same college roommate all 4 years. We never went to a dive bar in fur coats, just for the record. But I know, disappointing, right, Ericka?
Super.
But we were super close. He was in my wedding, good friends. And honestly, until 2024, we didn't really talk much after college. And he never did anything to me. I never did anything to him. And I say that because randomly in 2024, he called me. He just texted me. He's like, hey, it's been forever since we've connected. How you doing? You want to talk sometime? And we kind of reconnected and it was fantastic. Do you guys ever think about reaching back out to either of those people, or were you young enough in that story that the connection feels different?
Yeah, I don't know that I would reach out. Well, I'd have to run into him. Like I have no way of catching up with him. Like I said, we were young. But I do fairly regularly. I'll text somebody I haven't talked to in a long time, they just kind of pop in my head. So
yeah, with her specifically, I have over the years reached out. It's just never been the same.
I think it's interesting. We all have just described very different situations in each of the stories, but a relationship that we lost someone significant. We lost contact, at least, with someone significant without a single fight, without a single harsh word, without anything. And my guess is we can probably think of other people we've known along the way that we were in a relationship with, and now we're not. When we think about this idea of we are so connected and so alone, it really genuinely feels like this unresolved contradiction, right? Like, I'm just going to guess you guys have some social media access, right? You're probably on Facebook, you're probably on Instagram, you might be on LinkedIn. I'm too old. I just will not jump onto the TikTok bandwagon. But maybe you're sharing recipes on Pinterest. I don't know but we have all these places we can connect. So why does everyone feel so alone? I'm curious what you think. And maybe if it helps to give context, I wonder, do you think you're lonelier now than you were 10 years ago?
I don't think 10 years ago, I really understood what it meant to be lonely.
If you're comfortable, would you say more?
Yeah. So 10 years ago, I would have been pregnant with my first child. And there's things that go along with that, like nervousness, scared, but I had resources. I had family, connections, friends at at home, at my job. I have thought I had been through hard life situations, but I don't think I'm lonely now either. Am I less connected? Yes.
So you're less connected and feel more in a sense of community or less lonely.
I think that I learned what lonely and being alone was, and I don't think I truly had a concept of that 10 years ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And as far as comparison, because I've worked through it, right? Like it's not unknown, my story. So have there been seasons in, I'll say, the past 5 years where I have felt extremely alone? Absolutely. With some exclamations.
Yeah. And you gave 2-part question, man. Remind me of what those are again one more time.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I said, why do you think we have more ways to communicate with each other than any other generation in history, right? We can text, we can
Right.
call, we can video chat, we can pick your social media platform you want to connect on. And yet, if you look at the statistics in our society, we have this growing isolation. People feel alone. They feel all by themselves. Why do you think that's happening? Or why do you think everyone feels that way is part one. Part two, do you think you're lonelier now than you were 10 years ago?
Yeah. Well, to answer the first part of that question of, we've got all these different ways to connect, but people feel less connected than they have before. I think that's just because having the means to connect does not necessarily mean that you will. Just because I talk with someone, there are other things involved with really having connection on a emotional level, mental level, that there are just other things to it besides having a bunch of ways to do that. And vulnerability is a piece of that. And most of us, it's a buzzword, but I don't think most of us like to feel it, And so I think that's part of the issue. And do I feel more lonely now than I did 10 years ago? I don't know that I do. And I would say that only because being an only child, I've walked in lonely spaces. All my life. And so think about when I was, and this is more than 10 years ago, but I think about when I was in high school and I would go to the mall. I just went and I'd walk and I'd catch a few people there, but I went by myself, left by myself, and that was kind of weird. Then say I got into the ministry, and when you're the minister on staff, people are always coming to you for things that they need, but very few are coming to just be a friend. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a little different scenario. It's this one where you're known and, I do music and so forth. So there's a lot of people that I see, a lot of people whose names I know and who know me. But when you talk about connection and when I'm saying connection, I'm like at a deep heart level. There's levels to that connection too. I'm not saying we're not connected to them at all, but the deep connections, the ones that I'm like, oh, I need to call these people up, see how they're doing, that kind of thing. Those have come always at my initiation, but often at my initiation, And so I just try to keep those up, even though sometimes because of the given scenarios that I've been in, there's definitely been some feelings of loneliness, feelings of, I wonder if, if we didn't have this same thing that we were all doing, would people call me up to, go to a movie, to see a basketball game, And so I think some of that has to do with my scenario, but in a situation where I feel like I'm giving or I'm out in front a lot and don't know that I've had a lot of people pursuing my heart more than what I'm doing or my role, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You started there with something I want to dig into a little bit because you started by saying that people, just because we have means to connect doesn't mean we put the effort in to connect. So I was randomly having a conversation. For those of you who don't know, I'm coming to the end of my time as a manager at a brewery, which has been a fantastic people watching experience for the last 2 years, but I've got one shift left and I'm done. But I was talking to this guy at the brewery the other day. And we're talking about how do you let people in or how do you have friendships and all that kind of stuff. And he said, he's like, yeah, the trick is like now, if I have a friend, do I want to give the time to that friend? Because they might just let me down or it might not be a real friend. And so what's the point? And I was just like,
Wow.
Wow. And I might not be,
Yeah.
I mean, if he listens, I don't want him to think I'm like misquoting him, but like there was this sense in which I don't know if I want to invest the time it takes to really get to know somebody if they're going to turn out to be not who they said they were going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it is a risk.
Right. But I was
You
like,
never know.
You don't, but does that risk stop us from reaching out? Like I'm a pure extrovert, right? I'll talk to the wall. You guys don't even have to be on the podcast. I'll just stand here and talk. It's fine. I can tell stories. I don't care. That's who I am. But right. But like, so part of me is like, I struggle to understand this until I heard that. And I was like, I can't even imagine. I don't even think about that when I meet somebody.
Yeah. I've had, I grew up in the military. My dad was in the military. I was a military kid. And I do know that I ran across some people. There are a couple ways you can go with that because you're moving all the time. And so there are some who just dive in. They're like, oh, I've got just this much time to potentially have a friend. Let's get them, brah, and they go. And then there are others who are like, by the time I really get to know them, we really get to be friends. I got to move. And it hurts so much, the departure, that they're going, that's just too much work, and I may not have said it when they were young that way, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, I see that pattern. And because friendships or relationships, man, they take work, even really good ones. The ones they take work, they take planning, they take understanding, they take, things that have been misunderstood and regrouping. And so, man, I get that a lot. That makes sense to me that somebody would feel that.
Anybody ever have a time scheduled? Okay, so, oh man, we're going to get real honest and hopefully our friends will still like us when we're done. Anybody ever get invited out on like a Saturday night and you're like, man, I really hope they cancel. It's been a long week. I could use a night at home. Anybody ever out? Am I the only bad friend in the whole group?
I've felt that before. Not very often, but I have.
I don't feel it very often.
Sure.
Ericka, your face made me think you hadn't felt it. Like I was just a jerk. I was like, oh man, Ericka's going to light me up. Yeah. So it is work, right? And in the midst of everything else going on, like, I mean, I think it's work worth doing. I would argue it's work worth doing, but I don't know. And TQ, I've never thought about the moving factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So generations ago, I think, maybe I should have done some research before we got on this call, but like generations ago, I think a lot of our parents and our grandparents worked at the same place, retired from there. They bought one house. They lived there their whole life and they didn't move around. But in a lot of ways, a lot of working people today live a military existence.
Yeah.
Right. Like we don't plan it, but we move every 3 to 5 years. And I've never thought about that being a breaking point for some of our loneliness or relationships until you said it.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
So is loneliness rising because we have less community or because the community we have is shallower? Again, I know we're not all cultural analysts here. I'm just trying to, from the people you talk to, the people you hang out with, what do you think?
Well, I think it's both. I think people don't necessarily know how to connect and work at those relationships, or maybe they're not kind of forced to. I'm not sure exactly what it is specifically. But like, as I heard you talking, TQ, you said, you're a person who will reach out to people. Jason, you say you'll talk to the wall. And even in like some relationships that I have had, I've been the one to reach out. And even if it's like a constant reach out to create that relationship. But is everybody doing that? Like that work? Or are they just sitting on this? I could say all my feelings and everything out here and it doesn't matter because, what did you call this thing one time?
It's the glowing rectangle.
The glowing rectus. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's the glowing rectangle.
But that's like, there's that disconnect and like not going, and it doesn't always have to be 100% like face to face. That's not what I'm saying, but the work going into it, I don't know if we're not being taught or we're just not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, Ericka. You said, and I want to be careful here because anytime we start stereotyping, we get careful. You said people, so kind of this lump of all people. We don't know how. And where do you think I mean, again, we're just taking stabs at the dark, right? I'm not looking for scientific research here, but like, where did we lose that? What? And I'm in the camp of the glowing rectangle doesn't help, but where did we lose it? And is there a way to regain it? We're all parents. How are we teaching our kids?
Yeah. It seems to me, and again, like you said, I'm shooting in the dark. So here goes, folks. If this is dumb, y'all shoot it down and, it'll die. But when I think about how people used to connect before we had phones on us all the time, you had to like go and be present with somebody, I mean, I guess, yeah, you could do it over the telephone that was stuck to the wall, but you had a certain time limit and, parents were on you and all that stuff. And so you couldn't do that for too long. You'd have to go somewhere and do something like face to face. And with these gadgets that we have now, our interactions, I think, can be more curated, like in a museum, you put all the things up in the right places. So they have the right lighting and all that other stuff. Right. And so that you get the best image of them. Right. And I feel like in the digital world, it's easier to do that than it is face to face. Now, don't get me wrong. We were definitely trying to put on our best self back then too, whether it was how we dressed or using the right words or who we hung out with, whatever the case would be, that was happening, but you had to do it face to face, right? Mm-hmm. With this, I mean, there is so much you can do with that to make yourself seem like and that's fine. But I think part of the issue is if I do that, then if I do that all the time, and that is the primary way that people know me or get connected to me, then there are these big swaths of who I am, probably the vulnerable pieces, the pieces that aren't quite as shiny, not quite as, everybody's going to be excited about it, that I want them to know, that get put aside. And so I become friends or connected with people based on this presentation that I've given them and not my whole self, And so when I bring in my whole self to it, well, then there's that vulnerability. That's scary. And, and the other thing is if I do that online, who knows how many people are going to blast me? This whole cancel culture kind of thing. I mean, that's a real deal. And I've seen so much anxiety about that. And so I think the digital world has given us a lot of ways to connect, but it's also made it easier for us to just show our shiniest versions of ourselves and not to be really known, Yeah,
TQ, I love don't think we weren't trying to put a.
Man, I know I was.
We all were, but I remember anytime somebody was coming over, it was like 16 hours of cleaning to make sure the house was spotless. I'm like, we don't even eat on those dishes. Like, where are the paper plates? I don't even know. No. We're going to eat on the nice dishes. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, to some extent, right? I'll be honest. I don't know about you guys, but like we have the laundry couch, right? So that's the couch where the clean pile of laundry sits all week long. And when you need something, you go to the laundry couch to pull out the laundry. But the laundry couch has to be cleaned up before you come to my house, right? You're not going to I'm not going to make you have to sit. I had a friend in Minnesota. She said refrigerator friends. That was her level of connection. If you could walk into the house and open up the refrigerator and get something out of it for yourself, that was a friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if we have very many refrigerator friends.
Yeah.
To make you feel better, Jason, I have perfected the method of the couch laundry. You have to put a clean blanket underneath it. Okay. Therefore, if you need to move it, you wrap it in the clean blanket and you move it. And then you put it back.
All right, Ericka,
welcome to Beyond the Questions, ladies and gentlemen.
I will chase this rabbit trail with you. I have
Life
to confess,
hacks.
There have been times we use a beach towel. So I don't know why we have beach towels. We don't live at the beach, right? But we lay the beach towel out underneath the laundry and then you pick it up. And I have carried it upstairs to my room to put it in my bedroom because nobody who's coming over for dinner is going to come to my bedroom. And instead of folding it while it's upstairs, I've carried the beach towel with the laundry back downstairs, put it on the laundry couch, folded it eventually, and then had to carry it back upstairs again. So yes, that's dirty laundry down, clean laundry up, clean laundry down, clean laundry up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The laundry couch is a real thing. So.
And I think we need to allow people to know that we're all real and we all do that. And it's okay if your friend or even a new friend, whomever, comes over and is like, oh, well, this is me, and allow them to see the imperfections. It's okay. I didn't spend 30 hours cleaning the house before you came over because I got 2 boys and 2 dogs. And if y'all like to know the puppies
and a snake
weigh
and
in,
14 other animals.
Puppy weigh in 8 months, 135 pounds.
Yeah. I get that. The weigh-in stuff, all that's you there. But the other things that you said.
The connection.
Yeah, the 135-pound dog.
I don't know about that.
That's your own life choice.
I think about it sometimes too.
But you said just be vulnerable, right? You said just put it out there. But the problem is people have track records or they've seen folks who've done that and been burned, And so I want to tell them, yes, do that. And I do think that's necessary, but I get it. I'm like, man, that is difficult, especially if you've seen a good bit of it or felt it deeply. You're like, how can I step out there again? And I think that's probably a big reason why we're so connected and isolated at the same time, because it is just thinking scary to put yourself out there,
So let's
ahead.
head there. Oh, go ahead, CQ. What were you going to say?
No, you go. No, I'm done.
So let's head there for a minute, right? I think we can all say we've seen isolation. We feel isolation. Maybe there's a lot of reasons behind it. We could sit here and talk about it forever. How do we choose connection? What has to change in us? And TQ, I really appreciated in your story earlier when you said, I'm the one who reaches out. And some of us are the natural reach out people, but there are probably some people listening who have said, I reached out and nobody responded, so I'm not reaching out again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I know that hurts. So how do we navigate this space? There's statistics out there that say loneliness is worse for you than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, physical health wise. So we're talking about this isn't making an impact in our lives. This is making a dramatic impact in our emotional, our mental, and our physical lives. One thing to recognize that, and I don't think I'm not looking for us to come to an easy answer, but what do we say to people who are like, yeah, this is me. I am isolated. I tried, I got hurt. I tried, nobody reached back out. What do we say? What's the encouragement?
One of the things that just came to my mind is that, first you acknowledge the pain there. You gotta sit with them in that. And we've talked about journeying with people all the time. So that's one of the things we do here, beyond the questions. But
right.
After we've sat with them and journeyed with them in that pain, I think we need to help them understand or help ourselves understand that I'm hurting and alone. But if loneliness is more rampant now, it seems like people are dealing with that. That means they're lonely too. Like, I'm not the only one here that's lonely. They're lonely, but they don't know that I'm lonely because they're lonely, right? And so we're all kind of isolated, wishing somebody would say hello, send a text, randomly stop by when our laundry is out, but they came by. We really would love for somebody to do that when we're feeling in that space because somebody thought about us. But we're all sitting back kind of hoping someone else thinks of me. And so I would say try stepping out a little bit. You don't have to give a ton, but test the water some. I'm not a fisherman. We lived in Florida for a long time, but I've seen a lot of fishing happen. I've not caught many fish, which is why I'm not a fisherman. But there's a lot of casting. And if nothing's biting there, then you move to one place. If nothing's biting there, you move to another place. If you're fortunate enough to have a boat, you crank that motor on, you putter along to the next spot, and you start going there until you start to find, because there is this hope. And for the avid fisherman, there's always this hope. This is going to be the spot, And if where I am is not it, the fisherman says, I'm going to catch some fish. If where I am is not it for me and loneliness, then if I'm going to survive life, because I've survived life with my friends, that I feel like they've helped me break through things that were difficult. So I feel like if I'm going to survive and I'm not finding friends here, then I have to go fish somewhere else. I have to go look somewhere else. Not just because I need to catch fish, but because, man, I need it and they need it. Like, we both need it, but we all want the other person to take the first step because we're so hurt. And if I recognize they're in pain too, then maybe it helps me move, take that break through the isolation, protective self and go, okay, hey, how are you doing? I've been struggling a bit, man. I just needed somebody to hang out with. You want to hang out some and see what happens?
Ericka, you've been a little quiet this episode. What are you thinking?
My son is an avid fisherman, and TQ, you just hit that one. Like, I always say it backwards. I almost said nail on the head. Is that the right way? This might be the wrong way.
Yeah, nail on the head is right. Yeah.
But like that is beautiful, and I will use that with him and other people. Like I just like that's exactly how they are. Like constantly. He just turned 9 in May, and I mean that mentality. He's gonna catch a fish. Like it's just like any body of water could be a puddle. Okay, but you might want to check somewhere else. But that's like I was just in deep thought picturing that and just all the truths behind there. And I think that too, we're all hurting. That's a huge piece of it, and that risky piece that we have to acknowledge in other people too. And sometimes it doesn't work out. We try and it just doesn't work out, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I appreciate the depth of like being honest enough to say, hey, I'm feeling alone. I think back honestly to, this was pre-COVID, but just before. So January 2020, I went to a kickboxing gym in Minneapolis, and not a sparring gym. We were just kicking a bag and punching a bag, and it was a fitness thing, and it was great. And it was a 10-week fitness competition. And it's the first time I'd ever done a group fitness class. And for like the first probably 2 weeks, I had a buddy who went with me, and then we ended up going to different class times. So I'd say hi to him because he was there early and I'd get there later, because I like sleep. And I didn't really know anybody. I just kind of showed up. And I don't think I ever got deep friends with any of those people, but there was a sense of community. And I remembered it was a 10-week competition. COVID hit, Minneapolis shut down on Thursday, and we announced our 10-week winner on Saturday. So we had one day of working out online. And then the gym owner had to figure out how she was going to get online fitness classes starting Monday, because there was going to be another 10 weeks starting. So there's like 4 weeks in between, and they did it. But they did it because they knew there was community that was happening there. And I can remember like text messages that would go out in that group of, can't wait to be back together again. We all came back kickboxing. Like I was a sweaty mess. We wore plastic shields and masks. I'm not here to tell you what was right or wrong in COVID. I'm just telling you that's what we did. And that mask was like, I could wring it out by the time I was done. But we showed up to do that for 45 minutes to be in the same room with each other. And so I wonder what's the place around an interest that if you're really feeling lonely, you could just start to show up. For me, it was kickboxing. Maybe for you, it's a book club. Maybe it's some kind of entrepreneurial group. Like as a business owner, I'm thankful for the people I've connected with in the different entrepreneurial groups I've been in. Like, where's that place where we're even looking for something that's not here? I just think it matters when we get bodily in the same room with each other. Tiki, what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because you're talking about these groups of people. I didn't think Star Wars would come, the convention would come up this quickly.
Oh, it's coming back.
But so there's a lot of people at the convention. Ericka, you asked me, what'd you dress up? I didn't dress up, but there were a lot of people dressed up as different things. And by far, the most common was the stormtroopers. Just the white, there were legions of stormtroopers. There's probably more stormtroopers there that were in the movies. I'm serious. There were so many.
Wow.
And yes, and they know which legion, where they are. So, and they spend lots of money on the outfits, and it's kind of beyond me. That's not my jam. But talking with this dude in the elevator, this stormtrooper in the elevator, which sounds weird to say that, but I was talking to a stormtrooper in the elevator, and he's telling me what he spent, telling me where he's, what the group he's with. And so you talk about where do you go? Sometimes it may feel like some of the most random places, but if you've got that common, if that's your vibe and that's their vibe, there is common ground to begin connection, and that takes some of the awkwardness out of the, okay, what do I do with this person? Hi, my name's Twan. Can we hang out? You know what I'm saying? It takes away some of the awkwardness. So anyway, there you go. It's my contribution today.
For those who weren't watching, but maybe are going to watch now, could we get a replay of that, TQ? Could we see that again?
I'll ever do that again.
Wow. Came out of nowhere. If you listen, normally I would tell you just listen. We sit in our home offices. Our backdrops aren't that exciting. No, you need to tune in and just figure out that timestamp for that one. That was worth it. Something significant I was going to say, and then you lost.
All I can picture is DQ doing that and making it into a reel if adults were kids. Hi, want to go play? My mom cleaned the house. We can go.
You got a stormtrooper outfit? I do too. So we talk about these being unscripted. This is not where I thought this conversation was going to go, but I honestly, in some very real ways, mean I'm glad it went here. I want you to know if you're feeling lonely, I know it can be scary. To think about taking that first step can be scary. And maybe if it makes it less scary, put on a stormtrooper mask. Nobody's even going to know it's you, and go to the Star Wars convention, right? Like, what's the lowest risk step you need to take this week or this month to begin to put yourself out there? We all live in different communities, and each one of those communities offers some place for us to connect. What's your interest? What's your hobby? What's your thing, right? And what's it look like to show up in that space and just say, "Hi, I'm Jason," and be there? I don't want anybody to hear me say that and hear me say that it's going to be easy. But at some point, we have to take that first step. And I don't think, maybe I'm just Gen X, so I'm old and cranky, right? But like, I don't think that first step's on our phone. I think that first step is the scary step of saying, I'm going to show up in a real place, bodily next to somebody. And I really don't think it matters where it is. But if we start to show up with some consistency, the people who made friends at the gym showed up every day or showed up 4 days a week. Those, I can only imagine how many years that Stormtrooper Legion has been getting together in that place. But right, like something builds in that spot. So if you're feeling connected but alone, I don't think you're alone. I think the majority of us feel that way, at least someday. And so what's the step we're going to take? And thanks for tuning in. This one got a little away from us time-wise, but thanks for tuning in. We're glad you're here. We'll be back again in 2 weeks with another episode of Beyond the Questions. In the meantime, be looking, hopefully, for pictures of Ericka in a fur coat and TQ in an elevator with a stormtrooper, because I also believe that picture exists somewhere. And if you need anything, reach out to us on one of our social medias. It would be an honor for us to walk alongside of you in your journey, however feels best for you. But thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.
I'll take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beyond the Questions. Be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date concerning future episodes. And if you would like to connect with any of the hosts on Beyond the Questions, their contact info is linked in the description below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next episode of Beyond the Questions.